90% of the clients that I work with, like the big name clients, I actually invested in their programs first, not looking to like become, to work with them, but looking to get one of my problems solved. That's just a quick tip for anybody who's trying to like work with people on a certain level. You got to get in their spaces, and like that's one way to grow that relationship.
I got a bunch of cleaning business owners that's watching this content. Like,
Mhm.
could you give us like an example of what a good subject line might be to grab a potential building's attention or cleaning customer's attention for a cleaning company?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is
headed to the top. There ain't none of y'all stopping me. Used to say I never get a ring, Charles Barkley. Now I got a wife, got kids, own property. Bubble-eyed beans that look like that be watching me. Okay, I lied about the beans, but that was hard though. I'm still in that black act, but she starred though. Cause that's all it takes. Don't flash it for. I'm on my grind, not no more fashion show.
What's up, y'all? AJ Simmons, the Cleaning Business Gold, founder of the Clean Biz Network. And I'm laughing because I messed up the intro, but we had to restart it and it's all good. So anyway, I got somebody special up on here today for this podcast episode. And today's guest is a professional copywriter, marketing consultant, and she has worked with some of the biggest names in the game, y'all. I'm talking about guys like Wall Street Chopper, Dr. Marquell Russell, Dr. Andre Gaskins, Dr. Eric Thomas, David Shan. Stop me when
stop me. A lot of doctors.
Right? So, without further ado, please welcome the owner of Revive Group, Miss Sierra Seay. What's up, Sierra?
Hey, AJ. Thank you for having me on. I love doing stuff like this, and it's always crazy that like people ask me to come on here and come onto their platforms and talk. So I'm excited. Thank you.
I'm excited too. I'm telling you, like, you spoke at Marquell's event. That's where I met you, and this ain't even part of the questions, but I just got to tell you, since we just to start off, like, you ain't come on there with, trying to be extra energized. You ain't come up there trying to be extra salesy, none of that. You just came up there like, all right, listen, this the game, this what you need to know, and this it. And I was like, yep, that's my shit right there. Like,
it's so crazy though. Like, that's my style. And one of my mentors, she told me that the other day. She sent me some meme, and I'm like, what does that mean? And I don't remember the exact words, but when she broke down my speaking style, I was like, oh wow, that's it. I mean, because I'm not a fluff person. Like, I don't like listening to fluff. I don't like long podcasts. Like, I don't like, don't get me wrong. Some of them are good, but I'm more of a like, I don't really like small talk. So it's like, what are we here for? Let me give you that. And then all the other stuff, we can talk about that later.
Exactly. So that's why you click with me, because I'm the exact same way. I ain't trying to do all that. Let's just get to it, please. All right. So with that said, I'm going to start with my first question. So we usually always start off on this podcast and we ask how much you generated with your company, because we're a cleaning business podcast mainly, right? But I'm not going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you a different way. What I'm going to ask you is about how much revenue would you say you generated with your clients as far as gross revenue goes, if you had to put a number on it?
Yeah, so the number I've been sticking with the past probably about 8-9 months has been 75 million that I've helped clients like add to their bottom line. I'm pretty sure it's more than that, but right. That's the number I'm comfortable with. And I know sometimes people are like, well, how do service providers, track how much revenue they help their clients generate? One of the things is like having your clients be honest with you. And it's like, okay, from the time we work together to the time we stopped working together, like, what did those numbers look like, whether it was on projects I worked on or consulted on? Some people are honest, some people aren't, but I know especially over these last 4 to 5 years, I've been tracking it pretty closely. And yeah, it's more than that, but I'm cool with 75.
Okay, so before we jump into how you built to that $75 million number first, let's just rewind a little bit and just see who is Sierra, where you're from, your background a little bit.
Yeah, so born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Still live here. I'm actually downtown Detroit right now at one of my favorite co-working spaces. The mother of 2 children. At the heart, I am a storyteller. So I won my first writing contest in 2nd grade. And that's when I, over the years after 2nd grade, always was writing, had a journalism scholarship, but I dove into digital marketing in probably like 2000 and had to be like 8 or 9, like my junior year of college, trying to figure out what this thing was, because I started to see emails more and more. And from there, just like figuring it out, pro bono stuff, reading books, just practicing. I've always loved marketing. I just didn't know how I could like find my lane in marketing. I thought I wanted to be a journalist until I discovered they didn't make any money for real. But marketing was always like this thing that kind of pulled me, whether it was music marketing. Like I always was interested in how people got other people to do what they wanted them to do, like no matter what it was. So it had to be around 2000. I got to get my years together, but it was definitely after my oldest son was born. I actually joined ET's personal development program because I was just in a spot in life where I was like trying to figure out what did I want to do. I knew what I was doing at the time wasn't, for me. So I joined the program. A lot of people don't know this, but E was actually my guidance counselor at Michigan State. So he knew me a little bit already and kind of, what I was what's the word? What I was capable of. And he gave me a shot. And then from there, everything just kind of like spiraled. It's so also crazy though, because I tell people all the time, 90% of the clients that I work with, like the big name clients, I actually invested in their programs first, not looking to like become, to work with them, but looking to get one of my problems solved. So a lot of times people say, well, how did you get to work with? I was in their spaces and I didn't have an ulterior motive. So that's just a quick tip for anybody who's trying to like work with people on a certain level. You got to get in their spaces and like that's one way to grow that relationship.
Yep. No, I think that's a great tip. Most of the people that work with me now, they paid to join Clean Biz Network first, and then eventually we became friends, and they started, working for me, or we partnered on something. So I think that's a great point. Don't be scared to pay to get in the rooms, y'all. All right, now, when did you start the Revive group, and what were you doing before that?
Yeah, so the Revive group actually is a revamp of my original company, which was Dropout Media, which was started in 2018, and then I rebranded to the Revive Group actually just last summer. Prior to me doing this stuff full time, I've been doing it full time since 2018, but holistically it's been over 10 years. But before that, I actually worked in automotive here in Detroit at Chrysler, which is now FCA. I think they call it, as a production team leader. So I was in charge of a lot of people that was older than me, making sure that they did their job. And it was interesting. It was one of those things where like my first day on the job, I knew that wasn't for me, but then my goal was to like, so they call it an assembly line. You work on the assembly line. So I'm like, if I'm gonna be here, I got to get off the line, because being on the line, you're breaking down your body, you standing up, non-stop for 2.5 hours at a time. You didn't really have a lot of wiggle room to do anything but that job. So I got off the line in like 8 months, and I was a team leader I was there 6 years. So I was a team leader for 5.5 years. And then that's when I walked away to do what I'm doing now full time. That was March 2018. So yeah.
That's what's up. Congrats on being able to get out of that job. So first, I want to ask you this. Is there a way you're welcome? So do you think there's like a correlation somehow? Like, did you take anything from that particular position that you're able to apply to what you do now?
Yeah, I think it was. So that was when I think about my leadership experience, that experience was one that I think prepared me for a lot of what I do now. And even as I'm growing and entering into bigger spaces, I really think like that was the foundation. Number one, like learning how to build trust and rapport with people who like legitimately don't know you. Like as the team leader, everything that comes from your team is on you. So if they mess up, they don't really like it's all on you. And in an environment like that, it's not easy to get 40-plus-year-old people to listen to what I was like 20, I'm 37 now. So I was like late 20s, early 30s. They like, who is this, little girl? Like I got kids your age. So learning to build rapport with people, communication, that was a big one. One of the things I learned early on is that a lot of times the people on the team, if you told them to do something that they weren't used to doing, nobody ever told them why. It was more of a dictatorship in the plant. And I learned that like it was best to make this a collaborative effort. So I think that experience now, like when I'm going into places consulting and the marketing team looking at me like, who is this? Like we don't know her. Like learning how to put those things into play. I definitely think that experience over those 6 years like prepared me for some of the things that I'm just starting to do actually. Like these aren't things that I was doing out the gate. But it's funny you asked me that because I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like that little 6 years, it groomed me for for some amazing things that I'm getting ready to embark on. So it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, and I like that point you made too about you got to tell people why, especially when you're dealing with adults. But I even
Yeah.
learned even with my kids, it helped. They listen a
Mhm.
lot better when they know the reason why we're telling them to do something. Now every time we got to
Yeah.
hit them with because I said so. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
But
sure.
most of the time, yeah, I think if you tell people why, for the most part, as long as it makes sense, they would it. So I like that point.
Yeah.
Now, as I was doing my research on you for this interview,
Mhm.
certain terms were linked to you, like response marketing or copywriting. Like, what is
Mhm.
direct response marketing, and then also what is copywriting, just for the people who might not know?
Yeah, so direct response marketing is a marketing that's intentionally designed to get a response from someone, right? And whatever that response is, you get to make that up. So a lot of times people are like, well, what's the difference in like a direct response copywriter and just a copywriter? And really, it's the psychological part of it.
Yeah.
You'll find a lot of copywriters who they know how to tell stories, but they don't know how to like dig into the psychological part of how a consumer is thinking or what that consumer is thinking. So that's the biggest difference between the two. Copywriting is legitimately just the process of writing words to make people take action. Like this is a fancy way of saying messaging, but it's the process of it. So for those to bring it down on a more basic level, so let's just speak about social media specifically. Captions, subject lines in emails, headlines on landing pages. Even for those of you who may have a personal website, like what is your one liner, like your I help statement, sometimes we like to call it. That's what all of that stuff is.
Okay. And speaking of the like the one liners and the email topics and all of that, I remember you went
Mm-hmm.
on to that a little bit when you were on stage at the boot camp I was at when I met you. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just wanted to see if you could give us something like for the cleaning industry. Like if I got a bunch of cleaning business owners that's watching this content. Like,
Mm-hmm.
could you give us like an example of what a good subject line might be to grab a potential building's attention or cleaning customer's attention for a cleaning company?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is, and I'll just use the generic example if someone was looking to like secure a commercial cleaning contract. It's so the first thing is like determining like what is really the problem that you're solving for like this organization or this company and kind of pulling from there. Um Depending if it was residential, the difference between it being residential and it being commercial would that's how I would determine like how controversial I want to be or how curious I want to be within the subject line. If it was residential, I would do something like don't be dirty, or obviously spring cleaning. Everybody likes to deep clean their home right before the spring, especially more residential type. If it's more commercial, asking yourself like, okay, what is the big problem that I'm solving for these commercial cleaning companies? And when it comes to like a subject line for a commercial cleaning company, I'm not gonna lie, I probably would need to dig a little deeper. But thinking about what your advantage is as a company, are your rates the lowest? Do you not require contracts to take on clients? And that's how I would create that subject line from there. So yeah, hopefully
Okay.
that gave you a little bit of insight.
No, that's a great. I like that. I like that. So, all right. Now, on the same topic line of emailing, how often would you say we should be emailing? Like, if we got a list of businesses in our pipeline, like how
Yeah,
often should we be emailing?
bare minimum 3 times a week. And I know for some people that even seems like a lot. I used to tell people off rip daily, but over the years I've realized like some people just can't stomach that, not because they don't believe it works, but a lot of times the main problem is people simply don't know what to say in the emails. So it's like I already don't know what to say, and then you want me to do this every day. Versus like,
Right.
okay, I could do it 3 times a week because that gives me some buffer to figure out what I need to be talking about. So 3 times a week, I would say minimum. I always say it doesn't always have to be like super salesy. It
Yeah.
could be, informing them of some things that they need to be conscious of just in case they do have another company in there right now, or maybe they got like their own janitorial team. So like, what are some chemicals that they need to stay away from? If there's a company that everybody uses for chemicals and they have a sale, like letting them know like, hey, such and such
Mm.
has a sale on the chemicals, stock up for your team or something like that. I think a lot of times people think everything has to be like super transactional, up front, when really you just want to lead with value, because people don't forget like who they got value from. No matter how long it takes them to make that purchasing decision, people never forget that. Like they legitimately don't. So it's like, if this guy been giving me value for this long, and although I wasn't ready, a year ago because I was possibly locked into a contract, but he's still doing what he's doing, let me circle back and see if there's a way for me to loop him in. Like that's legit. That's how it works sometimes, especially when you're talking about on a large, like trying to get corporate client scale, like their processes are just different. And I think we get offended because we like, oh, they don't want it or they not doing nothing. And it's not that. It's called a sales cycle, and sometimes it's just a little bit longer.
Yep, especially business to business, y'all. Y'all got to remember that. So I love that. That's huge advice right there. All right, now, as a copywriter yourself, so I want to talk about social media a little bit. So I see these people, they post these super long like captions or whatever. They tell a story in there. I got mixed feelings on it. Sometimes I do it, and then other times I'm like, ain't nobody reading all of that. So I don't know. I want to get your take as the expert. What do you think about those long captions? Like, what would be some best practices there?
I honestly, you have to be in tune like with your audience, right? Now, I love when people say long caption alert because that's giving someone an option.
Yeah,
I think when people, I don't have any data that proves it, but I feel like when people do that, people are more inclined to read it because it's like, what was like that important for this person to take this much time to write, especially if it's someone who doesn't typically create captions like that. So I think it's something like a lot of things in marketing that is worth testing. But like with anything else caption related, you want to begin with the end in mind. So like, what is the goal of this super long caption like? And in most cases, what I'm finding is that it's to get the engagement up, right? The longer somebody's on there, reading that caption, then they comment, then you comment back, then they commenting back. It kind of like, it really, really spikes the engagement. So I don't want to say it doesn't work. I just think it is something worth testing depending on how you feel your audience may or may not engage with it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And then while I'm on that, what about like with the emojis? To emoji or not to emoji in those long captions?
I think it's okay because it helps tell the story. So I think emojis are okay to use. And the same in emails. Like people asking it all the time, like, is it unprofessional to put emojis in the email? I'm like, well, it depends on who you email it to.
Yep.
And then it also depends on, is that a part of your brand's personality? Like, so for a company like TikTok, that's normal. Like that's a part of their personality. So they definitely should. And if you like a financial, hedge fund or something like that, and you like super serious, then that may not be for you because that's not really a part of your brand's personality.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Now let's switch back to you for a minute. So I want to ask you, just from as an entrepreneur, what would you say has been the hardest part so far about building the Revive Group?
Man, the hardest part is probably me realizing, because I'm not gonna lie, I hit a wall last year. Well, I would say the middle of 2022, like I hit a wall, and then early 2023, like the wall, I just like I broke everything down to like rebuild it. The hardest part was realizing that the business can't outgrow me. Right, we get in these grooves where we're making more money than we ever made. Everything is flowing, everything is pretty much clicking on all cylinders, and we feel like, oh, I don't need to listen to that podcast, or I don't need to read that book, or I don't need to go to that conference, or I don't need to hire that coach. I'm good. Then you wake up one day and everything is not crumbling, but it's like a feeling of you run into something and you don't know how to get over because you stopped developing yourself.
Yep.
That was a really hard lesson to learn, but it's been one like well worth it. Like if you are in business, there is no such thing as like, I don't need to learn. There's something. You may not need to learn marketing in this season, but you may need to just, do the personal development side. You may be good on personal development, and now you need to sharpen the sales for it. But understanding that you should always be developing in some way, shape, or form is huge. And it could be small. It could be reading 3 pages a day or listening to 1 podcast a week. But I had got to the point where like I was just waking up every day working, and I took development time off of my calendar, and when I hit that wall, I knew exactly what it was. I
Yep.
knew exactly
Now,
what it was.
that's crazy you said that, because I did the same thing happened to me. So in 2023, I literally hit a wall. Like, for one, strike was like holding like half of my revenue, so that definitely took me up. Then like,
people don't talk about that. People,
you know what I mean?
They gonna talk about that.
And look, and I put it out there. Like, I had to move out my mini mansion and shit. Like, I got a video on my channel about it, and it's like I had to downsize because I realized like one of the biggest things, more than on top of getting away from those good habits that you were talking about. Like, I used to listen to at least Think Grow Rich at least once a year when I was growing. Got away from stuff like that. Thought I ain't have to do affirmation no more. Got away from stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I'm good.
right. I know all that. Now I'm back on it though. I need that ET again. I'm listening to ET again. You know what I mean? So all of that stuff. So, but yeah, I'm so glad you pointed that out. All right. I want to ask you this too, far as your business. So like, what would you say is the best way for you right now as far as acquiring new clients?
So right, like I've really been leaning into, I don't want to call it old school business practices, but I've been leaning into doing business the way it was done before the internet came along, right? So I've been super intentional about going outside here in Detroit, because one of the things, I was blessed to build my business pre-pandemic, but a lot of it was because of the relationships I had. So whenever I would be home, like I wouldn't go nowhere, I wouldn't do nothing, because I was always in Atlanta, and like that's where my network was. But probably like last November, I was like, you know what? It's a lot of great things happening here. Like, let's spread some soil here, if you will. So I've been going to a lot of networking events, like intentional ones, because I want to move into more of consulting for larger corporations. Those people go to the Chamber of Commerce meetings. Those people are out at the networking happy hours at places like that. Even where I am now, I intentionally joined this co-working space because it's full of professional women. Like, guys can come in, but it's the community of like professional women. And then I'm leaning more into Facebook ads again this year, which I'll be launching some soon. But yeah, I'm trying to, I don't want to say I'm coming off the internet. The internet is like my backup, if you will. And I'm just trying to do more personal relationship building, building rapport, being out. It's a little bit more tiring to just sit behind the computer, but I also think it's worth it, because I think some people, so I mean a lot of seasoned entrepreneurs. I'm talking about people who've been doing business for like 20, 30 years.
Right.
And they prefer meeting people that way. And then when they do go to your LinkedIn or your Instagram, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this person really is who they said they were, at that particular event, versus the other way. It's like, that's all they have to go by. So unless obviously it's a mutual person that introduces you, but it's been cool. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And it's like you read my mind, because like I'm on the same wave, like, because I've been using the internet as my end all be all for so long. And it's like, you know what? No, we got to get back outside. You know what I mean? And use the internet as a supplement, not as the main thing. It don't have to be the main thing, especially when, like you said, you talk to these businesses that have been around for years, or these companies that are doing multiple millions a year. A lot of them do referrals. They do in person. They do the BNIs and the local chambers of commerce and stuff like that. So all great points right there. Are you looking to start your own cleaning company? Or maybe you started your cleaning company, but you just need a support group, some mentorship, some guidance. Hell, a bidding calculator just to help you know if you're pricing the job correctly. Join us at cleanbiznetwork.app. That's www.cleanbiznetwork.app today, and get on the right track with your cleaning company. We have everything you could possibly need to get you going in the right direction, and see why we've been the leading cleaning business consulting company for the past 5 years, and why they call me AJ Simmons the cleaning business GOAT. So I can help you just like I've helped, and my company has helped thousands of other people start and grow their cleaning companies. Go to the #1 source today, www.cleanbiznetwork.app. Thank you. All right, now I'm about to switch gears with you. We're going to do something called the lightning round. I'm just going to have some fun with you. Yep. So we're going to say a word or phrase, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right, bet. Here we go. First word is Detroit.
My home.
Okay, but
you say home.
Okay. Next one is sales.
Life.
Facts. Facts. Okay. Marketing.
Fun.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. All right. Facebook, And IG ads or YouTube ads?
Facebook and IG. I
Okay.
still haven't tried YouTube, so I can't really speak to that.
Gotcha. Okay. Which social media platform would you say you spend the most time on for just leisure? Yeah, everybody, right? Most people say Instagram. Yeah. Okay, but LinkedIn. Wait, I ain't putting a note. I guess so. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn? That must be what I was trying to put.
Yeah, so I've been leaning into LinkedIn a little bit more as well. So because I'm doing a lot more speaking, what I'm finding is like the people who bring me in, like they're over there. So just doing like recaps of events, sharing just thoughtful, insightful things about what I do. On LinkedIn, I'm more just giving information versus like, what's the word I want to use? Like I generally don't have a call to action on LinkedIn on purpose, right? It's more of like a thought leader type style, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like here's what's going on, here's what I'm seeing. And sometimes I'll say, do you have if you have a question, like you can PM me or drop something below, but it's definitely not as, link in my bio does it. It's just more of a positioning of a thought. Because another thing too, all social media sites, I feel like right now, the people who end up, hiring you or bringing you in are not the people commenting.
Facts.
They're just not. So yeah, so just making sure you're visible, and then that the thoughts that you're putting out there are, worth reading.
Okay, good stuff. All right, next one: 850 credit score or $1 million cash?
850. Give me the 850.
Okay.
That's a tough one. Give me the 850.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Key to success.
Man, belief. I think that's the biggest one. Belief. You want me to keep going, or that's just the one answer?
It's up to you. If you want to expound, I'm here for it.
No, I would stick with belief. I would stick with belief.
Okay, next one is your favorite hobby when you got some free time. Tell the truth.
Favorite free time. A good glass of champagne.
Okay, right. I'm like, people be scared to say it now.
No, I wasn't scared to say it. I'm just thinking like, but it's so weird because I haven't been indulging in that as much. Like lately, I ain't gonna lie, I've been going to estate sales, which have been crazy. Yeah. In a fluid neighborhood, some of the stuff these people be having, that's been like a little hobby. And I'm gonna get back to playing golf this summer for real. Well, this spring for real.
That's what's up.
That's about to be my Friday thing.
That's what's up.
No, probably Thursdays.
But favorite YouTube channel other than mine?
Mine.
Right. Okay, my bad. I was supposed to say other than yours and mine.
Other than mine. Sarah Jakes Roberts. Sarah Jakes Roberts, and her and Darius Daniels, they about a tie. But those two are my favorite outside of ours.
That's a good. Okay, but speaking of, since you said it though, what is your YouTube channel? We want to make sure we all subscribe to that.
Yes, so I mean, if you just type in my name at Sierra Seay, but the name of the channel is More Opens, More Clicks, More Sales.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, if you type my name in, it'll pop up. I didn't make it difficult.
And make sure y'all look it up. Y'all already subscribed. Make sure y'all go subscribe. As y'all can see just by what she's been saying already, she got plenty of game and she know what she's doing. So definitely go subscribe. It's gonna help you more than her. All right, what else we got? Let's see. Oh, best decision you ever made in business.
Oh, best decision I ever made in business?
Yep.
I would have to say firing clients who were no longer in alignment with like where I wanted to go. Most people that's difficult. It's like to decide, that it's time to move on from this client. And it ain't because it's no beef or nothing like that. It's like, well, this is where I'm going. If you want to go, this is what's required. But if you don't want to take your services like to that level, then that's fine as well. So yeah, because holding on to those things like would have prevented me from being able to do what I do now.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Now, favorite genre of music, what would you say that is?
Oh, hip hop and R&B all day.
So I usually do top 5 rappers all the time after that, and that's the final one. Do you want to do top 5 rappers or just top 5 artists?
We can do top 5 artists.
All right, bet. Let's do top 5.
Top 5. Whitney Houston.
Okay.
Whitney got number 1. Jay-Z. Definitely got to be a J in there. Ooh, all time though, right?
Yep.
Whitney, J. Sheesh, this is tough.
Right.
Artist. That's Beyonce.
Okay.
Because when I hear the word artist, I'm thinking about full body of work,
For
shows,
sure.
all of that. Michael Jackson, of course.
One more.
What's that? Ooh, I want to say Janet. I really want to say Janet.
Okay.
No, Prince. No, Prince.
Okay,
Prince.
bet. Okay, bet.
Yeah,
Janet slept on though, so I'm glad you at least mentioned it.
Janet top 10 for sure.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
She top 10. Like people don't even know like her journey as an artist. That was the first 2 albums that flopped. And then she came out after she fired her daddy, then everything kind of popped off. So that alone, like that couldn't have been easy being Janet Jackson. Your first 2 albums flop. You gotta fire your daddy.
Yeah.
And then you pop off.
Right. You Michael Jackson's sister, so all that pressure too, like, come on.
Exactly. Yeah. That would have ended anybody.
So that's the end of the lightning round. I got a few more questions, then we're gonna wrap it up. So all right. The next one is, so what made you start a YouTube channel?
So I wanted to start a YouTube channel because I'm not gonna lie, one of the things I've struggled with is consistent content, but over the years, I've learned that I really love teaching what I do. Like me being on a stage or podcast or a live masterclass, any of that type of teaching content format, I love. And I'm like, okay, how can I be consistent with content, teach in my style, and still kind of like and grow my audience?
Yeah.
Right. And the first thing, one of my friends, colleagues, he was like, you need to do a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. Now, when I started, I didn't really know that. I'm one of those people who's like, okay, let me just do it and now optimize as I go. Even now, like I think it's been like 2 weeks since I did a video, but I'm dropping one too. But and I've been like interviewing some people who can help me, where literally all I got to do is record and they take everything else. Like that's the biggest thing. Sitting down and like having to do all the other stuff. But I wanted to really put my expertise out there, and it ain't a lot of people that look like me teaching what I teach, and then they have the same results that I have, or even close. So I'm like, I think this is a lane that if I get in and I really, really put my foot on the gas, I think it's a lane I can take over.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just, if you don't mind, this unsolicited advice. I've been on YouTube since 2014, and so my opinion on that is don't be too hard on yourself about consistency, as long as you persistent. So, because I'm not consistent on here either. I ain't never had a schedule. I keep trying. I always fail, but at least I'm persistent. It's like I might miss 2 weeks, like you said, but no, I'm still gonna come back. I'm always gonna be here. And so I think that at least if you persistent, that'll get you through. So just some unsolicited advice there. All right. So my next question: if you had to start all over again with $0, everything is gone, but you still got your knowledge, what would you do to build back up to where you are today?
$0, everything gone, but I still got my knowledge. I would go straight to YouTube for sure. I would go straight to YouTube and I would go like crazy hard, like probably 2 videos a day. Then I will also utilize social media, more than likely Instagram, to do like a live teaching every day. Because what I love about lives is that you can like interact with people. People can ask you questions. I don't have a marketing budget, but I will use those 2 tools to grow a free email list. And then just go hard with email. Yeah, but it would be super content heavy.
I definitely probably do. I do the same thing. If I had to start, I'm thinking about it. Matter of fact, because that happened to me before, and then I literally did 2 a day until we started building it up, and I got monetized. So yeah, I love that. All right, my last main question is, and I always ask everybody just to wrap it up, is if somebody's watching this video right now and they thinking about starting a business, but they just scared and nervous to make that jump, they don't want to spend that last $2,000 or whatever they got. And I mean, like, what would you say to them right now?
It's so if they wanted to start a business, but they don't want to spend their last, what would I?
Scared. Yeah, they don't want to spend that bread and invest, or they just don't want to take that jump. They scared they're gonna fail. Like, what would you say to them?
If you think you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail. So that's the first thing I would say. The next thing I would say is like, do you really believe in your ability to figure things out? money gonna come back. You're gonna lose money. Like, it just is what it is. That's just life. You're gonna lose it somehow, or you're gonna spend it another way. So if you really believe in your ability to figure things out, go for it. If you honest with yourself and you don't believe in your ability to figure things out, then being in business for yourself is probably not for you. And that's okay, because it's really not for everybody.
Right.
Like I tell people all the time, you got to either be called or crazy, because at the end of the day, you waking up every day, working hard, not knowing if you're going to make any money.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. Literally though.
That's legitimate when you really think about it. And especially like at our level, like we, making these investments and we getting up every day, going hard at it. And it ain't no guarantee that somebody gonna pay that invoice. It's not gonna be no guarantee that, so yeah.
Yeah, no, that's facts right there. I love that. Right, be that. All right, y'all. Miss Sierra Seay, I appreciate so much for coming on, and you dropped plenty of games. So hopefully the people appreciate me bringing you on. I know they do. Leave it in the comments, y'all. How can we follow your journey going forward?
Yeah, so I mean, you could connect with, my name is everything. So Instagram at Sierra Seay, YouTube at Sierra Seay, and then my website, sierrasay.com. If you want me to be on your show, if you got a show, or you just want to stay plugged in, either of those three ways are the best way to do that.
Love it. I love it. We might got to do a live together or something. I can tell, like, you definitely got more to offer for sure. I want to get you on here. So, man, we're going to keep working, though. I appreciate you for coming on, Sierra.
Thank you.